Well, should we do this thing? Hello out there. We're on the air. I think we're on the air. Are we on the air? We appear to be on the air. Hello. I was going to say good morning there, but it's evening. We're live on the YouTubes, on the Zap.stream, everywhere you're going to be. Because what the Bitcoin world really needed right now was another live stream for the halving. But I don't know. To me, it's like I just find it's a historic moment, and I know that none of the people in this chat are expecting a huge price movement tonight. So we're not even going to be paying attention at all to the price. It's something cool. And there's somebody in the group chat earlier talking about New Year's, and I think that in the future these will be much bigger than New Year's, the halving parties. So we're kind of at the very beginning of this whole thing. And if you asked me 4 years ago, Jor, where do you think you'll be for the halving, the next halving? First of all, I would have said, what the fuck is a halving? And secondly, I wouldn't have guessed that I was in this house, in this town, talking to everybody here. So lots changes in 4 years. Let me tell you that. Lots changes in 4 years. And I kind of want to have that as the theme tonight. We talked about that a little bit on the show this morning. I don't know why this is so. Anyways. We talked about that on the show this morning and in the Living in the Future tier as well. Lots happens in 4 years. And so that's going to be the theme for tonight. I don't have a real agenda to work off of. I'm kind of hoping that we have some folks in the house, and it looks like there is. We got Johnny. Happy having everybody. We got Adam. We got 88 Sats Radio. Oh, that's me. Grabbing a beer and pouring a Caesar. Francis, good evening, my friend. Colin, Zach. Johnny says, we're going to watch the time chain calendar live. I don't know. We'll probably put it on when there's X amount of blocks left. We're at 7 blocks to go. So we're currently at block height 839,993. At block height 840,000, we cross into a new epoch. And if you grew up in the Y2K debacle, I don't know. I kind of having I'm having an uneasy feeling about this. I don't know why. But I just I don't want to be the guy on live stream talking about Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden something happens in Bitcoin. I don't know what that could be. And I don't know how long it's going to take for these last 7 blocks to be mined. We could be here for 6 hours. Do you remember when we did the live Bitcoin transaction on the show and it took 45 minutes to mine that block? We'll see. It looks like they've been coming in pretty steady, though. I was watching the Bitcoin news halving party that they had going on there. Good to see. There's 2,800 people watching that one. So that's pretty impressive. It's good. It's good that Bitcoin is where it is today. Ryan's in the house. Letha. Let's check Zap.stream. What's happening over there? Letha is there as well. Let's get some people in Zap.stream tonight. I know that there's a lot of live streams going on, but tonight is the night to try out Zap.stream. See what you can do. What should we set our goal as tonight on Zap.stream? What could we hit? What could we hit? I was going to do a little bit of a raffle, or not a raffle, but like a bet in terms of when the block's going to happen. What was I going to do here? Oh, change my goal. What should we set as a goal tonight? Let's do 42,000. Maybe we could hit that. 420 special. It's kind of funny that It's kind of funny that it landed where it did today, although we're all kind of hoping that it was going to be on 420. It is 420 in Australia right now. I wonder if any of our Australian friends are tuning in tonight. So there we go. We got some people over in the zap.stream. We got a new goal. I didn't even call it anything. That's okay. Maybe we'll hit it. Maybe we won't. That's not the point of tonight. Tonight, we're just going to watch the halving happen. So as Francis says in the chat here, we are 6 blocks away. It's pretty exciting. I don't know. It just seems like there's been such good energy today. Everywhere on nostr, on YouTube, in the group chat. Spirits were high today. So if you're watching on the YouTube right now or on the zap.stream, let us know what you're drinking, because it is Friday night. It's 6 p.m. here. So let us know what you're drinking. This is my favorite beer. Soul. Not like the crypto soul, but the beer soul. So let me know what you're drinking. Let us know what you're drinking. And also, I'm kind of curious because, I mean, we do the show every morning and there's a bunch of different time zones. So I understand that people can't always be there, but I'm hoping just because this is such a neutral time, we might actually have quite a few people in the house tonight. So also, Labatt. Is that a Canadian Labatt? Gotta be. Labatt's good beer. Super underrated. So anyways, let me know what you're drinking and let me know what country you're from. Because I feel like, I don't know, I'm in Canada here. And I feel like there's a small amount of Canadians who are actually regular viewers of the show. So I'm interested to see where everybody's from and what you're drinking. So Ryan's got a Labatt. Zach's drinking a Miller Lite, Wisconsin's finest. Francis has a coffee mixed with some moonshine. Let's go. I love that. Adam's got tequila. Wow, we're getting crazy tonight. Wow. I got some whiskey in this one. I got a backup. I didn't know how long we were going to be here. So I poured a backup Caesar with whiskey. I'll have a little taste. Damn good. Johnny's got Corona, no lime. Letha also drinking Coronas over on zap.stream. Colin's got a Bowmore 15-year. It's got to be Scotch. I think Scotch is the only one you say how many years it is aged. Moonshine from Gatlinburg. Oh my God, I love that. That's amazing. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put on nostr that we're going live here. Let me do that quickly. We're just gonna have a nice chill night tonight. There's gonna be no flashing sirens, no fireworks or anything like that. We're just gonna hang out and be part of history here. That's it. And I don't know. I think that's kind of the draw to this channel, is that it's very laid back. We don't try to be anybody that we're not. We just kind of go with the flow. And so I'm going to share this on nostr. I was going to try to incorporate nostr into tonight, but I couldn't really think of a way to do that. I do know that there's a lot of people who watch this show who have joined nostr in the last month or two. So that's pretty good. That's kind of the idea of this whole show, is just to kind of push freedom stuff, because that's what Bitcoin is, I think, to a lot of people, especially at this stage. We're going through a very weird time in the world right now. And I think that there's still a lot of people out there who don't fully grasp Bitcoin and everything that it encompasses. But the people who are here, the people who are here aren't here because they want to buy Bitcoin today and sell it in 6 months from now, which is very contrary to what the mainstream media will tell you. They try to pitch it as a Ponzi scheme so that people are kind of wary of it. But it's not. It's something that we're here for, because it's the whole idea of Bitcoin was to separate money from the state. And we've been going through some wild times in the world in the last 4 years specifically, but for the last 150 years, We've been in a fiat world, fiat standard for the most part. I know we had gold there for a while, but gold was centralized and kind of taken capture by the people that we're up against. And Bitcoin combats all that. So what am I going to say here? We are live on Zap.stream and YouTube. Pour a beer and stop by. So with that, we got a couple answers here. We got Yorn. That's a good name. Very similar to mine. You're just missing an A in there. Yorn. Joran. So my full name's Joran. And it was kind of a nightmare growing up in school because every time the teachers would do a roll call, I'd say 5% of them got my name right. It was either Joran, Jordan, George. I don't know how they got George out of Joran, but I just feel like a lot of teachers just mail it in most days. So that's cool. From Holland. Ryan says US, I guess. Not sure what that means. Think I'm a Fed? Vancouver, yeah, Mandu. A fellow Canadian. Johnny says Francis won't see the end of the show. It's the moonshine. I have a few experiences with moonshine myself. Actually, one of the first times I saw my dad really drunk was on moonshine. We took a trip to Banff, me and my dad and my little brother, and we went to Banff. And dad was drinking with our cousin on moonshine. They had a lot of moonshine, a serious amount of moonshine. We call it home brew here in Canada, but they had I swear to God, 10 or 12 shots of home brew. And I don't know if I should be saying this on the live show or not, but that's okay. Anyways, my little brother had to drive him home. It was one of his first experiences driving in kind of a bigger city. He was 16 or 17 and dad was just annihilated. And it was pretty funny. And I've also been a couple times myself on the home brew here. And one time at this lake, actually, where I live now, we had some home brew shots with a fondue. So we do a fondue a couple times every summer, which is just a bucket of grease or oil, I guess. And you just dip in a whole bunch of meats, pierogies. What else is in there? Like beef, chicken, pork, pierogies, onion rings in batter and stuff, and dip it into the fondue thing. And we always have home brew for some reason. But we took this canoe out to the middle of the lake, and I think there was 5 or 6 of us on this small canoe, and we capsized it in the middle of the lake. And our parents were back at the cabin. They could see us, but they were also on the home brew. So they weren't too concerned, but we were actually in pretty big trouble out there. The canoe tipped upside down. We were all fairly drunk in the middle of the lake. None of us had life jackets or anything. And some other boat came out to save us from another cabin. So that was pretty funny. That's my couple experiences with homebrew. But hopefully Francis doesn't get into too many shots tonight. So we are still 6 blocks away. What do we want to talk about tonight? I kind of want to leave it up to everybody here. This is just kind of a free ball show. I got a couple things, but sorry, this has taken me 20 minutes to type this out. And as I was bragging this morning about being so good at multitasking now, I can't even send a post out. So anyways, do we have any predictions on a time? No, we better not, because I'd rather, if we're actually going to make predictions, I want something to be on the line instead of just randomly throwing out comments. Okay, we're good. We're good. I'm back. I'm back. Jason's got a Guinness to start. God, I love Guinness. I used to hate Guinness until I actually went to Ireland and had Guinness from the actual factory there. And once you taste it in Ireland, you actually acquire a taste for it. That's my opinion on it anyways. I don't know if it's true or not, but ever since then, I've been a huge Guinness guy myself. Johnny says, the last time I drank moonshine from Georgia, I didn't remember anything the rest of the night. Just moonshine and home brew here, as we call it, is another level of drunk for sure. There's wine drunk, there's whiskey drunk, and then there's home brew drunk. and moonshine drunk. That's a whole nother ball game. Oh yeah, let's see what's going on over here in zap.stream. Crypto Heathen's drinking Irish whiskey, ginger beer, and a splash of grenadine, plus a maraschino cherry. Wow, fancy guy, fancy guy. Irish whiskey, good call. Ginger beer, I love that. What do we got here? We got Googs. Says, hey, getting more active on the stream, but love the content. It's nice to have a place with like-minded, logical individuals. Also, just got into golf, so would love to support and get some of these custom club covers once I reel back on throwing everything at Bitcoin. I love that. That's good stuff. Is there many golfers in the chat? I don't know. I feel like there is. The cool thing about how this whole thing is tying together here, and maybe I'll talk about this on the show tonight because it is very interesting what's been happening here in my life. It's interesting to me anyways. I don't know if anybody else really gives a shit, but so the 88 Sats project itself is actually based around golf and Bitcoin. It was called the 88 Sats project, golf and Bitcoin. And so with that, what we did was we found 88 people. We all invested some Bitcoin and we put it into a shared wallet. It's in a multi-signature setup right now. And our plan is there to actually purchase our own golf course in 10 years, 15 years, when the purchasing power of that Bitcoin gets to a large enough amount. We want to purchase our own golf course. So it's pretty cool. We managed to get 88 people. About probably 80 of them at least didn't have any Bitcoin before that. And I really wanted to, am I on the wrong mic here? I shouldn't be. No, I don't know. Pal Mark says, anybody else having issues with audio? Maybe confirm that I'm okay here. I don't know. Did I change something here? It's been doing a really good job as of late. We had a couple really bad episodes there for audio wise, but let me know if everybody else can hear me okay. Okay. Johnny says no, so we're good. So we got 80 new people into Bitcoin, which in my opinion, and this is myself here, but that's a pretty good accomplishment, I think, to get 80 people who never owned Bitcoin before into Bitcoin. And so we set it all up. Actually, we got a guy from Australia who's been helping me quite a bit with it. And so pretty cool. We got people from Australia, some from the US, some from Canada, all 88 shares. We set up a corporation and all 88 shares actually sold within a couple months. So that was kind of the beginning of the whole 88 Sats project there. But what we're doing this summer is we're actually doing a Bitcoin golf tour. And we're applying the same kind of logic to it, the same kind of concept to it. And so what we're going to do is there's two of us. We each bought 1 million Sats the other day when the price dropped to $60,000. We bought 1 million Sats. And what we're actually going to try to do is golf 4 rounds every summer for as long as that takes us. So with that, probably the first summer, a round of golf around here costs about $60-$70. And so we'll probably chip into about a quarter of that in the first season. And we're going to film it all. We're going to put a documentary style thing here onto YouTube. And so we're going to see how many rounds, how many summers that we can actually golf, how long that 1 million Sats will last us. And personally, I think that we're going to be able to golf forever till we die on that 1 million Sats, just because of the increase in purchasing power over time. And so the first couple of years might be tough, especially if there's a dip in 2026 or 2027. We might cut into a significant amount of that, but over the long run, I think we'll actually be able to stretch it out quite a bit. So that's the Bitcoin golf tour. Same logic. We're actually going to be throwing some Sats on the line for each season. We're going to turn it into like a docu-series kind of thing. So the first summer is going to be season 1. Second summer is going to be season 2, and so on. So pretty cool. It'll be all on the 88 Sats channel here. So you guys can watch that if you'd like to. And we are looking for some sponsors. We're going to pay for the rounds with our Bitcoin, obviously, but we're just looking for some sponsors to get the gas, maybe some lodging if we need. But outside of that, so if you have any like friends that are business owners that are into Bitcoin, tell them to reach out to us, because I think it's going to be a very good opportunity for them to be a sponsor on there. We already found 2 sponsors, but we're looking for a few more. Goog says, started 2 years ago, got the handicap down to 14 and got an eagle. Boxed my whole life, but got sick of the asbestos covered CTE and changed it out for some nice rolling greens in the outdoors. Best decision I've made. And golf's such an underrated sport. I'm not kidding. And there's a reason why it's become so popular in the last couple of years. COVID really jump-started golf in a lot of ways. And I mean, how could you go wrong? You got 4 or 5 hours, you're outside in the sunshine, you can drink beers, you can smoke cigars, whatever you're into, hang out with your buddies, and just have fun. And I think that the main problem with golf has been there's been too, what would you call it? Too hoity-toity, I guess you'd say. Too many rules, but that's all changing now. It's more for everybody, I feel like. And you just go to a golf course now and you can see the difference there. There's got people listening to music. There's people wearing hoodies. There's people wearing t-shirts. And I'm all for that. I don't think that has anything to do with golf. Historically, I mean, it's kind of cool that they dressed up all fancy and only the high class could golf, but we're just not there anymore. So I'm a big advocate of wear what you want, do what you want, as long as you're not bothering other people, as long as you're being respectful on the golf course. That's the number one priority there. So do whatever you want. Look at this. We got Happy Halving from Yagro, 21 sats, and Ted 555 zapped 50 sats. Thanks, ladies and gents. Appreciate that. Adam says, were people this excited about the halving 4 years ago? So I kind of started the show and I said, if you would have asked me 4 years ago what I'd be doing on the halving in 2024, first of all, I wouldn't have known what the halving was. I was into crypto, I think, at that point, but I had no idea what Bitcoin was, what a halving was, what Bitcoin mining was, none of that. So me personally, I was not excited about the halving. I probably didn't even know that it was on the calendar. I was in a different town. I was in a different job and a different house at that time, 4 years ago. Colin says, girlfriend and I took up golf last year, excited to get started again. Oh, it's such a great sport. So underrated. Dan says, whoa, look at this. Dan says over on zap.stream, I walked 120 rounds last year, hoping to top that this summer. That's incredible. I mean, it's one thing if you're going out with your buddies and you're going to drink beers and have a good time. Obviously, you take a cart, but there's nothing quite like walking a golf course. So good for you. Health-wise, mental-wise, mentality, whatever you want to call it, headspace. It's just amazing. COVID had the opposite effect for me in golf. That's interesting. Do you want to hear something crazy? I don't know what, like I said, there's lots of people from across the world here that tune into the show, but do you want to hear something crazy about golf? During COVID here, we had rules. And I think that Manitoba was honestly one of the worst places on the planet in terms of COVID restrictions. But we had about a month here. This would have been summer 2021, I believe. I'd have to double check that, but I think it was 2021. And we had a mandate where you could only golf if you were with a member of your household or a roommate, your family or a roommate. That's the only people that you were allowed to go golfing with. Outside, in the fresh air, wide open space. But you couldn't be with anybody outside of your household because COVID was so dangerous, so contagious. But, you know, we're probably going to look back on these times as like a very dark time in history. But at the same time, if none of that happened, I would not be sitting here today. I guarantee that. If we didn't live through all that, I would not be sitting in this chair today. I would not have any Bitcoin. Zero. I'd still be writing it off as a Ponzi scheme used by criminals, used by drug dealers. Horrible for everybody. So, I mean, COVID was bad, but there was actually a lot of good things from it. One was the huge spike in golf. And in 2019, that's when we started our golf company, King Golf. And so we kind of been riding the wave of that popularity. And when we started King Golf, even our friends are like, it's just going to be like, we started doing these, our main product at King Golf is our custom leather head covers. We make them here in Manitoba. They're all with genuine, locally sourced leather. And a lot of people said, it's just going to be a fad. It's just going to be a trend. You guys will be dead in a couple of years. And here we are 5 years later, we're growing every single year. And believe it or not, the Bitcoin community and the nostr community have been a huge part of that, of staying in business, because a lot of businesses fail after the first couple of years, especially going through a pandemic like that. And, you know, we have some higher priced items, like our custom covers start at $150. And so if you think about that, and this is something that, well, I'll get to this, but when I was a kid, I used to go work on my grandpa's farm. He didn't have a farm, he just had horses, but I'd go help him out there. And after the summer, he bought me a new driver. My grandpa was one heck of a man, one of the best guys I've ever met. He was an auctioneer. Remember auctioneers? He was a legend. So I'd go work on his farm with his horses and cut his grass and do all of his bidding. And he bought me a new driver. And I think the new driver cost about $250. Brand new driver, brand new TaylorMade. I still have it, I think, here at the house. I think it was a TaylorMade steel. Anyways, $250. Our head covers now sell for starting at $150 for a custom one. So that's how much the game of golf has increased in prices. And I'll tell you another story here in a sec once we get through a few of these chats here. Zach says it woke a lot of people up. It did. It really did. And I think that we're still living through that every single day here in our life, where people are starting to feel it. And I don't think anything would have changed until we went through these last couple of years of like super high inflation. I know the news and Jerome Powell and Chrysler Freeland like to say that inflation's around 2, 3, 5, maybe 6%. Let me tell you about this, actually. So this is a book here. Tee Off. This was every course in Manitoba. It has all the information on it. It has a little map of everything. This is pre-internet. This book came out in 1991. So you look at every course here, and I'll find one because where is it here? Wassa Gaming. This would be an interesting one. I wonder if it's the Clear Lake course. It is. Okay, so let's look at so here we go. This is a good one. This is Nipawa. And Nipawa has a beautiful course. Actually, this might only be 9 holes, so this might not be as relevant. I'm going to try to find the one we saw the other day. Gilbert might be a 9-hole too. Yeah, it is. All these courses are not only 9 holes. They must have all expanded in like the... Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. This is where I grew up. So this is Dauphin Golf Club. You can see here. Nice 18-hole layout there. Today, if you want to go play golf, you're probably looking at least $70, $75. I remember the first time I paid $60 to golf, and I still remember that. That's how much I was blown away by it. But $60. So now if you're going, you're probably paying for like a decent course in Manitoba. You're probably paying about 75, 80, 85 maybe. Some courses are higher than that. And Manitoba is probably one of the cheapest places in Canada to golf. So this is Dauphin Golf Club. In 1991, green fees, $15. $15, 1991, 30 years ago. So we went from $15 to about, you could probably play there for about $70 right now. So that's how much price has increased in the world and also in golf as well. But where I'm from, this one was crazy. I mean, it's still only like 25 or $30 to golf here for 9 holes. But in 1991, 6. You could have went and played a round of golf for $6 in 1991. $3 if you were a junior. $3. You can't even buy a fucking bag of chips anymore for $3. Pretty cool. My grandpa was actually one of the people who started the golf club here in the 1960s. Pretty cool. So anyways, that's the golf chat for tonight. A non-zapped 21 sats over in the Zap stream. Thank you, Anon. What else we got going on here? We got 6 blocks still. We're just kind of getting settled in here. We got lots of comments to catch up on. Tommy said, same here, Jor. That was, this was probably back in COVID. Adam says, I still see people wearing masks. Me too. That was actually one of the biggest reasons I moved out of the city and moved out to the country here. Just because the cities are so full of dipshits. Everywhere you go, you walk down the street, you walk into a store, you're driving down the road, you drive past a car, somebody's wearing a mask while driving their car by themselves. It's not for me. And I grew up in a very small town, and so that's probably what drew me back here. But it's just insanity. And I do think that there's going to be a big trend here, especially in Canada, of people moving out of the cities. It's already happened. It's a different life though, for sure. And maybe I'll touch on that in a little while here when we get through the comments. Jason says, one person to a cart unless from the same household. Same here. They tried to prevent people from touching the flag sticks and picking balls out of the cups. They took away garbage cans here. Like, could somebody with a brain tell me how taking away garbage cans would somehow prevent the spread of COVID? We weren't allowed to take out the pins. They had these little things that you pull up to get your ball out of there. You weren't allowed to put your hand in the hole to get your ball. It was absolute insanity. And if you called it, the worst part about it was that if you called it insanity, you were called a conspiracy theorist. That was the worst part about it for me, is that people actually bought into that bullshit. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, this is nuts. I'd rather be by myself than with absolute morons. Johnny says, I live in Florida and have never golfed. Went to the range and it took me 10 minutes to hit the fucking ball. Johnny, I can't say I can relate to that. That's one thing that I've always struggled with. It's like I get it in baseball. You got something that's moving coming at you. I get that. People swing, they miss, they strike out. But with golf, the ball is literally just sitting there on a tee for you to hit. I mean, even if you hit it like off the toe or hosel it, like you should still be at least making connection with that golf ball. It's literally just sitting on a tee. I don't know. And the further you get into golf, you learn how to shape it. You learn how to draw it, fade it, slice it, hit it high, hit it low. That's the fun part. That's the fun part about golf for me. I mean, I like going out there, being in the sunshine, hanging with buddies, but it's just, you can get so creative with it. And that's what I love about golf. It's all creativity. Over on Zap.stream, what's going on over there? We got Googs. It says, my first job was at a hockey rink sharpening skates for $6 an hour, and I'm only in my mid-20s. Damn. $6 an hour. You must be in the States then, because minimum wage here, I think, as long as I can remember, has been like $15 an hour. But if you were a kid, I don't think that applies to kids. Dan says, I never really watched the news before the pandemic. It was only then when I discovered the news was fake. Completely fake. Not only fake, but bought and paid for by the worst people on planet Earth. Crypto Heathen zaps 21 sats and says, pour one out for the folks wearing a mask while driving by themselves. Yeah, definitely not cheersing those dummies. There we go. Daniel's back in NYC. He was traveling to, we're 4 blocks now. Holy cow, we're moving pretty fast here. The last block was 114 sats per vbyte. Somebody paid 13,000 sats per vbyte in the last block. Is that idiotic or is that idiotic? 13,000 sats. You got too much Bitcoin if that's the case. Tommy's a disc golfer. I want to try that big time. Christopher Blake, familiar face. I think I've seen that in chat before. Happy Bitcoin halving day, everybody. Stunt Chicken. There we go. I saw a couple of comments from Stunt Chicken the other day on the videos. Stunt Chicken is fully bought into the 88 Sats channel. I love that. Great name. We got a couple great names in here. One of them is King, which is my favorite name. But we got Stunt Chicken as well. And there's some other funny ones. I think there was Money Badger 420 was one yesterday. Probably one of my favorite parts about YouTube is the fucking names on there. Jason says, there we go. I played Nipawa years ago for a wedding or for a wedding weekend. Nipawa is definitely one of the nicest courses in Manitoba. Probably the most underrated course here in Manitoba. Zemo. Yo. First time catching the stream. Cheers. Cheers, my friend. Thanks for being here. It is a historic day in Bitcoin, so we had to celebrate. I got steaks waiting for me outside, so I wouldn't say that I'm hoping the blocks go very slow. But at the same time, I'm in no rush. I got a beer here. I got a whiskey whiskey Caesar waiting for me. I just got to cut it off. Probably after the Caesar gets about halfway through. Whether the block hits or not, I'm probably going to have to cut the stream because I'm going to start saying some dumb shit. And if you've ever tuned into our Kingdom golf podcast every Wednesday night that we do, sometimes I get on the whiskey and it doesn't ever turn out for the best. Ojafar. That's a great name. Underrated name for sure. Where do I live? I'm in Canada, my friend. I'm in Canada. The town course at Oak Lake used to have the honor box. That means that there's just a little bucket of a coffee tin maybe, and you go out, and if you're golfing, you just throw a $5 bill in there or a toonie or a $10 bill, the honor system. There was actually a driving range on the #1 highway between Brandon and Winnipeg. There's a driving range, and you could actually went by the same thing, I think, honor system. You could just pull over if you're having a long trip on the #1 highway, hit some balls, and you just threw in a couple bucks. Honor system. There's not too many honor systems anymore in the world, it seems like. It's pretty sad. Looking to move from Toronto. Oh, I'm in Manitoba. I wouldn't advise Manitoba. If I was moving from Toronto to anywhere in Canada, I would either go to Nova Scotia, East Coast, or I would go to Alberta. Those are probably the #1, but also Saskatchewan is a really good runner-up. Saskatchewan is very much like Manitoba, very flat, a lot less lakes. There's not a whole lot going on there, but they got a good government there, and they pay way less taxes. The people are a little bit batshit crazy from Saskatchewan. I'm actually dating one myself. I don't know if she's watching the show or not. She's cooking the steaks. 4 blocks left. Francis said 5 blocks, but this was a little while ago. We got 4 blocks left, folks. What's going to happen here? The world's going to catch on fire? Christopher Blake says, country living is the best. You know what? It is. And probably I'm not exactly sure where my life's going to take me. I wouldn't mind going back to a city like maybe Calgary, maybe Nashville. I don't know. There's something about smaller cities that I'm attracted to. I spent 15 years in a smaller city here in Manitoba. And, the energy there is something that you miss. The quiet, though, the peaceful of just like going outside, doing whatever you want, listening to music as loud as you want, and nobody will do a damn thing. There's something to that. There's quite a bit of adjustments though, I think, in terms of like stocking up for food. The water's not great. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. It's been really good out here. I haven't spent 1 second missing the city. Other than the golf league that I still play in is in the city, but I literally have a golf course. I could probably hit my driver and hit it onto the golf course from here. Actually, I could. I could probably hit a 6-iron and hit onto the golf course from here. So pretty lucky, pretty lucky. And you know, the nice thing about living in the country is that usually pretty cheap. I got a few acres here, nothing crazy, but it's all trees. And you know, if Bitcoin doesn't work out, I can always fall back to trees, wood. And probably I'll probably start selling trees because there's just so many of them here. And firewood is a very hot commodity right now. So there's some birch trees, there's some poplar trees. That's about it. But there's a shit ton of them. So I just got to get some machinery to deal with that. That's my problem. Look at this. We got some more people showing up in the Zap stream. Nate is over in the Zap stream. Marinate 305. Googs says, what do you think about the Nelk boys? Been watching them for a bit and love to see how they progress from pranksters to entrepreneurs. Yeah. The Nelk boys, I remember when they were just first getting started and I had a couple buddies talking about them. And I watched a few videos and I was like, okay, they're doing a lot of things that kind of everybody does. It was kind of like a progression of like jackass stuff, which I love. I used to do jackass stuff all the time as a kid. Got in a lot of trouble for it too. But I was like, okay, well, they're doing their thing, whatever. I'm not going to pay any attention to it. There's enough shit on the internet. But I will give them a lot of credit. They've done some really good things, some very smart business decisions. And I don't know. I think you can take a page out of their playbook in terms of just like being yourself. The one thing that I like about them is they just be themselves. They don't try to be funny. They just are funny. And you can always tell with people like that. I watch some people online, they just do too much. They do too much. And I don't feel like the Nelk boys do too much. I think they're just like who they are. A lot of people enjoy it. And when you have that sort of momentum, you can pretty much do whatever you want and you have much more longevity. Because if you're trying to be somebody that you're not, people catch on to it eventually. If you're lying, people catch on to it eventually. The best thing that you can be is yourself and to tell the truth, because then it's so easy to do. I mean, I'm not going to try to compare myself at all to that, but like it's been about 5 months now, every single day showing up to do a live show. And I mean, I usually have some random things written down, but like it's much easier to do things when you're being honest about it. So that's what I would say on the Nelk boys. And, you know, something that probably has inspired me is just to be yourself. That's it. Pretty simple economic formula. Okay, what else we got here? What else we got? Do your part. Yeah, that was the sickening part about COVID. Do your part. You had fucking neighbors ratting on each other. I remember I don't mean to turn this into a depressing show at all, but I remember one Christmas I went home. I wasn't even allowed to go home for one, but I did. And I had to park in the garage because my parents were worried that one of our neighbors was going to rat me out. So I had to park in the garage at my parents' house. That's how fucking insane Manitoba was for a while. 2 weeks left to stop the spread. Yeah, that worked out well, eh? Noah's in the house. Noah's on YouTube today. She's usually on Zap.stream. Can't wait. We're getting pretty close. Dangerously close. And the thing about this is like these last 4 blocks could happen in an hour and they could happen in 5 minutes. So it's pretty tough to plan a show around a Bitcoin halving, but we're here. We're doing it. Looks like the next 4 blocks are pretty much full of transactions. I'll bring this up when we get to probably 2 blocks. I just feel like people don't really want to watch. I mean, some people might rather watch it than my face, but Mr. Android, happy halving, everybody. Happy halving to you as well. Ojafar, We're thinking of moving to Calgary. Calgary's great. Calgary is an extension of Montana, same exact landscape. If you've ever watched, especially Southern Alberta, if you've ever watched the Yellowstone show, it's pretty much identical to that. And great people there. Danielle Smith. Danielle. It's too many Dans in my life now. Danielle Smith. She's a legend in Canada here. I think that she's very underappreciated by a lot of Canadians. Zombie or Alan, he's got 3 names on here. I'm sure he's trying to keep a low profile based on 3 names, but we'll call him Zombie. Says if you look at mempool space, the halving block is pulsating. I just noticed that too. Is that normal? Look at this. Let me bring it up here for a sec. This block right here. Pulsating. Why? What does that mean? Oh, that's the block. Fuck, am I stupid? Oh, heaven help me. Okay, well, we're turning that off after that. Screw the mempool. That's what's pulsating. I get it now. I'm not used to this. It's my first halving party. Take it easy on me. Johnny says, it's my life goal to be living in the country and live off the land. Well, you know what, Johnny? This is what I would say to that. If that's your life goal, write it down. Say it every morning, every night. And you will find your way. You'll find your way there. I guarantee it. Whatever that takes. If you think about it enough, you will get there. And we are officially at 3 blocks left to go. It's kind of getting exciting now. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's the pulsating block. Why Crypto says, could you take a look at Gari Network? Sure. Let me Google it right now. No, I'm not going to do that. It's a Bitcoin show. We are not Bitcoin maximalists, but Bitcoin is the only thing that we talk about because it's the only thing we're talking about. Oh, we're 2 blocks. Wow, we're moving here. Okay. We're getting serious. There we go. That's what I said. It could happen in 2 minutes here. How many fingers deep am I? I'm not deep enough into it yet. That's a problem. I haven't even started it. Let's start it right now. You know, I'm pretty thankful that everybody showed up tonight because this would have been a pretty sad experience, I think, if there was like 2 people in the chat and me hammering beers and Caesars. So appreciate everybody. Nimlord is in the house. Happy having. Happy having. Okay, Zap.stream is buzzing a bit here. We got some stuff going on. There's no shortage of stuff to talk about in Bitcoin. Let me tell you that. Grace too. Let's take a quick moment to appreciate this comment here. I jumped onto your Patreon, the Living in the Future. Actually, he's a higher than that. He's a higher up, which is just for, so on the show, and I'm sure people don't really care about this at this exact moment, but on the Patreon, we have a couple different tiers. The one of them is Living in the Future, which is $5 a month. The main premise there is we're becoming better Bitcoiners. We're building businesses in Bitcoin and earning Bitcoin. That's the goal. And we're building a network there. So those are the 3 kind of focuses on living in the future. On top of that, we have the orange seals. And I kind of thought of it as like a journeyman, living in the future, and orange seals. Bitcoin, obviously. I didn't even talk about my hoodie here. This is my rare, whenever we're doing a non-morning show, I throw on the orange hoodie for the Bitcoin. But the orange seal is for people who are, how can I explain it? Who are really serious about Bitcoin and don't have a whole lot of time to commit to learning it. So let's say that you're somebody who's interested in Bitcoin. You've been in for about 6 months now. You have a significant amount of money invested into Bitcoin, and you really just want somebody there to help you through it all. And that's what the orange seal is. It's like once every quarter, we just meet. We do an hour or 2 session. We check on your process. We check on your strategy. Just make sure that everything's up to snuff, essentially. It's like having a financial advisor, except for Bitcoin. And we manage the UTXOs. We look at everything that's going on in Sparrow, the future plans for the next year or two. So that's a pretty, oh, Arnie's sticking his nose in here. Arnie, come here, buddy. Come here. There he is. There he is. Arnie showed up for the last block here. No, we're still at 2 blocks. Come here, buddy. You coming in? Being shy. Okay, Arnie. Well, if you want to come, you can. He's just sticking his nose and one eye into the door. Anyways, where was I there? So that's kind of the idea there. So it's basically like having a financial advisor, except you don't have to pay an annual fee like based on your assets. It's just like somebody you can check in with, talk to about Bitcoin. If you have any questions, if you need help with anything, that's kind of the point there. So that's the orange seal. And he says, pretty inspired by you today. So I appreciate that very much. That's the whole point of it, is that, you know, Bitcoin is if you're at the surface level of Bitcoin, you see the price, you watch the headlines, and that's kind of, you just hope that it goes up and you can have more purchasing power in the future. But with what I'm doing on this channel, what I'm doing on the Patreon, it's a much deeper focus here, because there's so much more here. There's so much more than just the price of Bitcoin. And there's so much opportunity right now in Bitcoin. It's incredible. It really is. And so I'm just happy that, you know, we are where we are right now. Manitoba seems super socialist. Yeah, it is. It's very depressing. Let's get off of politics here for a while. Jason, oh, look at this. Fast Jimmy. Hi from Queensland, Australia. What the heck time is it there right now? Is it morning? Anyways, cheers. We got the whiskey. Mr. Android says, anyone feel like they didn't stack enough this epoch going into the next one? Here, I'm going to shut this door. So one thing I did decide today, actually, and I shouldn't leave zap.stream out to dry here, but one thing I did decide today is that I'm going to completely forget about how many sats I have right now. And instead of thinking in years, I'm going to start thinking in halving epochs. And so my goal for this next 4 years, this next halving epoch, is to get 50 million sats. And I put that in the group chat today. And so I'm going to write it down. That's going to be my focus. And when you kind of have something that you can anchor to there and work towards, then you kind of just line your life up to go towards that. So 50 million sats, I thought that was pretty, I don't know. It really depends on a lot of things, but in order to get there, the one thing I do know that I'm going to have to build systems and businesses within Bitcoin that earn Bitcoin. I'm not going to be able to, you know, go to a job and earn enough money where I can buy 50 million sats. I have to set things up where I'm earning Bitcoin on a regular monthly basis for the next 4 years. And that's, I think I posted that today on Nostr, but it's the quote. The quote is, people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. And I think we should switch that to, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a halving cycle, 4 years. So that's what I'm going with. And I do think that, are we close? 2 blocks. I do think that people should do that, regardless of how much Bitcoin you have right now. Set a goal for this halving epoch of how many Bitcoin or how many sats you want to get to. Oh, we're 1 block left. Okay, let's turn this baby on. Let's fire things up here. Do we have any music or anything? Do you play like We Are the Champions? Here we go. This could be 2 minutes. It could be 40 minutes, but we'll keep talking. So anyways, that's what I think everybody should be doing. Figuring out how much you want to get for Bitcoin. I mean, in the old days, people used to say, you know, figure out how much you want to have to retire, figure out how much you want to earn per year. It's like, no, switch that into Bitcoin and then figure out how to start earning Bitcoin every single day. We're close. We're very close. Let's see. Oh, we don't need that on the screen. We don't need double fucking me here. Where are we? Okay. I can't check on Zap.stream for a while. Sorry, Zap.stream. Holy. Look at that fee right there. 3 Bitcoin somebody's paying for one transaction. What? I think people predicted this because they're worried about their legend sats or epic sats or some bullshit. Imagine wasting 3 Bitcoin to try to earn some sort of special sat. You have to be messed in the head. You have to be. If you can't see that, it says 3.6 now. Somebody just paid 3.6 Bitcoin. Is that right? No. That's not right. Sorry. That's 0.3 of a Bitcoin. Yeah, sorry about that. That's my bad. I got too excited there, but that's still 3 million sats for one transaction per VByte, not for the transaction, but per VByte. So here we go. We should play Thunderstruck, but then I'll probably get taken off of YouTube for their BS. Zach says, can finally show up after work my fiat job. Oh yeah. That's kind of the shitty thing about the 8 o'clock show is that some people are working and can't tune into it live. But Zach is in the house tonight. Good to see. Here's a good question. What was my aha moment in Bitcoin? So actually what it was for me is I went into cryptocurrencies first. Like I was putting all my money into this cryptocurrency called Theta. Had some Litecoin, had some Dogecoin. I actually made quite a bit of money off of Dogecoin, which turned into Bitcoin. So it wasn't all bad. I still have my Theta too. But the aha moment was actually, I listened to about a 2-hour show. It was a guy named Bitcoin Ben and a guy named Dave from X22. And it wasn't about, what's coming here, what's happening in Bitcoin. It was about what has happened in history and how different Bitcoin is from our current fiat world that we've grown up in, the only thing that we've ever known. And it wasn't until I heard how different Bitcoin is compared to fiat that it changed my mind. Because I was looking at these different cryptocurrencies and they did cool stuff. They had the NFTs. There was the same. There we go. Block subsidy has just halved to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. (7:10 p.m. Central Time, April 19th, 2024. We have officially hit block 840,000 on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's pretty cool. But apparently, I don't really understand this whole thing of how they can change the blocks afterwards and who mined it. It looks like Via BTC is the one who's mined it so far. It's a really long celebration. $200 sats per VByte was the average. Total fees, holy. Oh my God, look at that. Via BTC just earned themselves 40 Bitcoin for that block. 2.4 million US dollars. No, $2.6 million for that block. Wow. And if we compare that to the last one, another block just got shot through. There we go. Well, we're still here. The power didn't go out. Bitcoin didn't stop. The block before that earned, how come it doesn't show the same? Oh, what did I do wrong here? Total fees were 1 Bitcoin. Pretty good. Still 1 Bitcoin. But this one had 1.6 million. Where did it go? There it is. 2.6 million. Holy. That's significant. I really wish it would have been like a solo miner. That would have been awesome. But I don't know. I was listening to a bunch of different people talk about it today, and I still don't really understand what the hell is happening with it and what can happen. But there you go. I guess we're going to just keep celebrating this forever. But anyways, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm glad we could see this happen all together here. Pretty cool. Pretty big moment in Bitcoin. And like we've been talking about, this isn't going to have any sort of short-term price implications, I don't think. But that's not really the point. The point is that, and so let's look at this block now. Let's see the first block after the new subsidy. Or was that? Okay, so this one has a subsidy and fees of 7.6 Bitcoin, and the fees were 4.4. So this one obviously has kicked in properly, 3.125. But was it this one that it did? Yeah, it was this one. So the total, why does it keep taking away from me there? The total subsidy and fee for the 840,000 block was 40 Bitcoin. And the total fees on that block were 37.6. So this was the very first block where the new subsidy kicked in to 3.125 Bitcoin. So they said that miners were going to be struggling after this. Via BTC just got $2.6 million worth of Bitcoin. More importantly, though, 40 Bitcoin. Damn. Well, that worked out pretty good. We're an hour into this thing. Almost timed it perfectly. Let's take this off the screen, though. That's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Oh, I'm getting a notification here from Zap.stream. My balance is low. I got to top it up. So Crypto Heathen actually over on Zap.stream says probably the same show. Ben on X22 woke me up to Bitcoin and what really piqued my interest. Then I found out Ben's from my hometown and been following him closely ever since. That's what it was for me. And that's why, I think that these shows that we do every single day are so important. Because when you think about your friends and you think about your family who aren't in Bitcoin yet, I know as a Bitcoiner, when you first get into it and you first kind of understand what's happening here, all you want to do is tell everybody about it. But until they're ready for it, until you can actually have like a real conversation about why Bitcoin is so much different than everything we've ever known before, not only in the financial system, but like in a mindset, with energy, with the proof of work, I just feel like we're moving from this very artificial, get rich quick world where nobody wants to do any work. They just want life hacks on everything. Bitcoin completely flips everything on its head. And I think that's why it's so hard for a lot of people to understand, because it has gone up so much that that's what it appears to be. But it could not be any further from that in reality. And if you're a Bitcoiner, if you've been here for a while and you really understand what's happening here, you understand what I'm saying there. Ojafar says, I've been in crypto since 2017. It changed our life. It really did. It changes every single part of you from the bottom. So here's what we're going to do. It's 7:15. The halving is done. I'm sure everybody wants to go do their Friday night thing. We're going to stick around for probably, let's say 5-10 minutes. We can just chat about a few things and then we'll call it a night. I'll get a little bit further into this, but not too far into this for the sake of me. At least when I have Caesars on the, or whiskeys on the Kingdom, I got my brother there and one of our best friends. So I don't have to talk too much, but here I'm kind of by myself. So I don't want to say anything stupid. Noah says, I see only 2 blocks to go. Okay, you just said that. So it is official. It is official. Yeah, Tommy, agree. Great day to list your 4-year goals. Don't think about 1-year goals anymore. You can do some stuff in a year, but years go by so fast. So fast. And with 4 years, I feel like you just have a much longer time horizon there, and you can kind of do different things to set yourself up for where you want to go. And we actually watched a video today in the Living in the Future tier, And he talked about the captain of a ship and how you can only have one destination at a time. And you have to be very clear on what that destination is. Because if you're the captain of the ship, or if you walk up to the captain of the ship and you ask him where we're going, he knows where we're going to go. He's got one destination to the port and he's headed there. He's not going, you can't go to two ports at one time. You have to go in one direction, one port, and you really have to focus your time and your energy on that. So one thing I would say is actually, I've got quite a bit of, even during when we were watching the show today, we got lots of good feedback on today's Living in the Future. So we're at 40 members in there. We want to get to 44 members. And when that happens, we're going to cut it off. We're going to cut that tier off. So I don't know if I put my description or the link in the description below, but if you are somebody, like I said, 3 goals, very simple: becoming better Bitcoiners, building businesses in Bitcoin and figuring out how to earn Bitcoin every single day and build businesses around that. And then the network aspect of it. I think that the network aspect is going to be a very underappreciated part of this next decade. Because when you cut out the middleman, which is essentially what Bitcoin does, you cut out the middleman, you have to find your own people. You have to find your own community and your own network. And if you can find people to buy and sell goods with and services for Bitcoin, you don't even need that old system anymore. The reason why that old system existed and still exists is because there's a middleman there to connect people. But when you have Bitcoin, when you have nostr, when you have a community and a network of people, over time, you don't really need the old system anymore. So that's the point of living in the future, where we're living as if 1 sat equals $1, because we all believe that that's where it's going to get to. So instead of wasting our time and our energy chasing dumb shit in this current system that we're in, we're building businesses there. We already have one business fired up that's already earning Bitcoin. And there's people in this chat here who are part of that business. And I don't know, I just think it's a no-brainer. If you're somebody who wants to take this stuff seriously, you don't have to quit your job tomorrow. Nobody's going to ask you to quit your job tomorrow. But what you start doing is you spend your mornings, you spend your nights. And if you're actually into Bitcoin, it's very easy to do. It's not even a chore. You spend some time and you figure out how to earn Bitcoin. And that's what we're doing there. Jamie Dimon talks about one public blockchain. That tells me everything. Yeah, Jamie Dimon's a piece of shit, to say the least. Sorry, I'm behind in the chat here. Look at the fees on that block. 2.6 million bucks to, who was it? Via BTC? Legendary stuff there. It is going to go down in history. That's a big one. I wonder what the last, I wonder if we could look that up right now quickly. Let's bring it up. Let's see if we can see block height. What would that have been? 63,000. 630. I can't even speak. Look at that. So this was the last one that happened 4 years ago. 630,000 block. There was, let's see how much they earned for that one. 66,000 bucks. I mean, if that's not an indication of exactly where we are today and where we're going, that is a perfect way to describe what's happening here. 4 years ago, the last halving, the miner who mined that block was Anpool. They got 66,000 for that US. And that includes 6 Bitcoin, less than a Bitcoin paid in fees. And if we fast forward to today, 40 Bitcoin worth 2.6 million and 37 Bitcoin in fees. That is a perfect analogy of where we're going, where we've been and where we're going, and kind of what we can expect in this next 4 years. And, you know, I probably sound like a broken record here, but honestly, if you're here, if you're watching this, if you give a shit about this right now, you're in such a unique position in your life. We have so much opportunity here in Bitcoin. And I cannot say that enough. If you want to get as many hands and as many different things within Bitcoin as possible, because I think that there's a lot of people out there who, you know, they take their energy from the old system, they buy some Bitcoin, and they think that one day in 20 years from now, they'll be able to retire off that. And maybe you will, but that Bitcoin's going to eat away. It's going to slowly deteriorate. And depending on what your timeline is there, you're going to run out of Bitcoin. You're going to be forced to spend your Bitcoin and sell your Bitcoin. Whereas if you completely change that, your day-to-day, and you start focusing on how to earn Bitcoin and build businesses within Bitcoin, then you're not only going to have the ability to spend some Bitcoin, but you're actually going to be coming out ahead, and you're going to have more Bitcoin. And when everybody else catches on to this, you're already going to have systems in place and businesses in place to satisfy that for you. So I just think that that's such a bad mindset. It's just like you're going to buy Bitcoin and hopefully, one day you can retire off of that. No, you got to earn Bitcoin. So look at over here. We got a raid from the grinder, whatever the heck a raid is over on zap.stream. See, it sounds pretty cool though. So we got the grinder just zapped 1,000 sats. Happy Halfini. Thank you, my friend. I very, very much appreciate that. And I can't see the other people here. It just says NPubs, but we got 21 sats. We got 420 sats, and we got 1,000 sats and 100 sats. Holy, we are getting rated. Whatever the heck rated means, we're being rated right now on zap.stream. And not like rated as in like out of 10, rated like your house is getting rated. He says, if you refresh the chat, they should show. Oh, okay. For the NPubs. Good idea. So I can give some shout outs here. Didn't work. Oh, he said, just took my stream to your stream. There we go. We got rated. So anyways, oh, here we go. They showed up now. So we got the grinder. We got Microdose BTC. We got Noah, Bitcoinium, also known as Noah. We got Boston Wine. I know Boston Wine. I did some work with Boston Wine for one of the logos for the show. Matt zapped a hundo, Mix zapped 1,000, and Zombie zapped 420. Happy Halving. Unbelievable. And Dan zapped 420 sats. Love that. Thank you, everybody. That is the power of Bitcoin. That is the power of what's happening here. Like, I don't know. You can call me a nerd, but that is cool stuff. We couldn't do that before. We could never do that before Bitcoin. You couldn't go on a live stream and somebody could send you, what would 21 sats be? 2 cents in dollar terms, but who gives a shit about dollar terms? You just couldn't do it because the old system cannot handle micropayments. And so many people are sleeping on that aspect of Bitcoin, the micropayments aspect of instead of liking something or commenting or sharing or reposting, if you can actually send somebody real value for that, so much better. And that's why Nostr is going to win. That's why Zap.stream is going to win. And if you think about all these things that I've been talking about for the last 5 minutes, and you're still sitting on the sidelines thinking that I'm just going to buy some Bitcoin and hold on to it and hopefully it goes up, you have to be part of this. You have to do whatever you can to be a part of this whole thing. It's exciting. It is exciting. I appreciate the grinder over there doing a lot of great things at Zap.stream and rated the chat. Sorry, I'm way behind in the comments here on YouTube. I apologize. But if you're on Zap.stream, you would have got some, you would have got rated. Okay, we made it. There we go. Shell, good to see you, my friend. First halving for me too, Tommy. 2.6 million in fees. I can't get over that. I cannot get over that. $2.6 million for that block to be mined. Happy new epoch, everybody. Holy. Hey, there's a good friend of ours, Arturo. I think I answered your question on the live show this morning. Pretty sure I did, if I'm not mistaken. He says, or they say, sorry, he or she but that's it. Cheers to that. Cheers to either being a he or a she. He says, I think some BS like COVID is going to happen so the rich get it. Probably the CBDC event and the war. Yeah. I posted about that on nostr yesterday. I said that, this is an election year. We're 110 days into it, I think, or something, 109 maybe. We got about 250 to go. And so we've made it through the first 110 days of this year, presidential election year in the US. Historically, if you look at every 4 years, there's something major that happens. So we've got through the first 110. We only got 250 days left in this year. So in other words, just prepare yourself. Prepare yourself mentally. Just expect it to happen. And then when it does, you just say, okay, well, yeah, we knew it was coming. It's probably going to be bad, but you just have to be prepared for it mentally. Expect it to happen, and then it won't be as bad. And that's mentally, but you also have to be actually ready for anything, whether that's some extra water at your house, some extra food in the freezer, some sort of emergency plan with your family. Whereas if something happens, what are we going to do? And you just have to use logic. You have to use common sense. It's probably going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, you have some extra water, you have some extra meat, and that's it. You spend 2 minutes texting your family a plan saying, if something happens where we can't get in touch with each other, this is where we go. Like, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a $50,000 generator. I'm telling you just to be prepared for what's coming, because there's probably something that's going to happen this year. Daniel says, I always tell people who are just curious not to buy Bitcoin. I agree with that. I mean, usually, but where we are right now, I tell people to buy it and then learn. Any other time in history, I'd say, spend some time learning Bitcoin before you get any. But right now, I think that we know what's going to happen. Like, it's not a surprise what's going to happen in the fall here. So get some Bitcoin, learn how to protect it, and then do what you need to do to continue your learning from there. My wife woke me up to X22, to Bitcoin Ben, to Jor. God is good. There you go. All roads lead to Bitcoin, one way or the other. Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah, me too, Jason. He said, kind of glad I wasn't Mara. They've been doing some BS in the Bitcoin world. Here we go. Here's some foreshadowing. One Bitcoin will be worth 2.6 million in the. Okay, that's actually a pretty fair estimate, because the last block, the last halving was, what do we say, $60,000 for the subsidy and fee, which is what the price is today. So Zemo's saying that 4 years from now, the price of one Bitcoin is going to be worth 2.6, which was the fee and the subsidy of this halving epoch. I'm definitely not going to argue that. I think 2.6 is probably conservative by 2028, personally. And that's not sort of any advice. That's just what I think is going to happen. Because we're talking about a scarce asset here with a fixed supply, and literally the price of everything. I mean, we talk about 2.6 million in US. The only thing that is going to happen here forever is that everything's going to fall in comparison to Bitcoin. Forever. Look at this. Adrian Lee. This is Marcus Aurelius. I have his book somewhere in here. Highly, highly, highly recommend this book. It's not his book. It's Ryan Holiday's book, but Marcus Aurelius is one of the main guys in this book. I absolutely love this. Everything about it. I read it every day for a year, and I just check in on it time to time when I need to, I guess, ground myself, you'd say, in terms of not worrying about the bullshit in life and just focusing on what you can control. It's a big part of it. Saves you a lot of stress, extends your life for longer, makes you funner to be around. So the quote here is that when you arise in the morning, Think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love, to be a Bitcoiner. Good mix into that. Somebody should do that. Somebody should write this Daily Stoic, take all the same quotes from it, but turn it into a Bitcoin version of it. If I had time, I would do that, but I don't. So over on zap.stream, we got 3.4 thousand sats there. We're well short of our goal, but it was a pretty lofty goal. I think that's probably one of the highest Zap streams we've had in here so far. Other than, I think, Fiat Joff showed up in Zap.stream the other day and zapped 4.2 thousand sats. That's what somebody said. I don't know if it was actually him or not, but I might go back and check. But somebody zapped 4.2 thousand sats in Zap.stream, and somebody said that it was Fiat Jeff, which is the creator of Nostr. So I took a little screenshot of that later in the day. Pretty cool. Beans, bullets, band-aids, and Bitcoin, the new 4 Bs. I can get behind that. Although I heard band-aids, there's some weird stuff going on with band-aids. They're putting something into the material there because it's directly into an open wound. I don't know. I mean, it's the same with Bitcoin. It's the same as anything in that life. Is like Grinder, the highest zap of all time on zap.stream. Holy, look at that. 10,000 sats from the Grinder for the halving. The highest zap of all time on the show. Wow. Love that. Arnie loves that. He's going nuts outside. 10,000 sats. Wow. And if you are living in the future like we are, that's a lot. Where 1 sat equals $1, that's a lot of purchasing power there. So the Grinder, thank you, my friend. Thank you not only for that, but for creating such an amazing platform like Zap.stream. I know you guys are doing some amazing things over there. And I love the fact that, I do this every morning. We do our golf show on Zap.stream. I think the other day we had one person for an hour and a half that was on Zap.stream. But whatever, like you have to use this stuff. You have to use stuff like Zap.stream. You have to use Nostr. If you actually want the world to become what you want it to, you actually have to support these things. So, as I said, there's one person that was in there for an hour and a half. And, it costs a little bit to be on Zap.stream, very minor. But I didn't turn it off because I was like, you know what? We have to keep this on just because. It's part of it. It's part of the whole principle there. So appreciate that very much, Grinder. Thank you. Noah says, love Ryan Holiday. Have you read The Obstacle Is Away? Oh my God. That's my favorite book. The Obstacle Is Away. Legit. He's got a couple good books. The other one is Stillness is Key, I think. And Ego is the Enemy. Both Ego is the Enemy and Obstacle Is Away. I think that Obstacle Away was a better one though. Arnie's going nuts outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But anyways, he loved that big zap from the Grinder there. And the Grinder says base stream. I'll give him a 69 zap. Club 69 for that one. Thank you. I mean, I think that's a compliment, base stream. I don't know what the exact meaning of that is, but if you, tell the truth and other people can relate to it, then I guess that's based. I don't know. Mr. Android says, I used to read the Daily Stoic book, but replaced it when I found the King James Bible. That is one thing that I'll admit to, that I'm not up to speed with that. And it's something I do want to get into in this next halving epoch, is doing a little bit more with that stuff. Grace 2 says, what's the link to the Zap.stream chat? Anytime you ever want to go to, every morning, you can just go to bitcoinjourney.ca/stream. I set it up so that it automatically redirects you to Zap.stream. And if not, you can just go to Zap.stream and it'll be right on the front page there. But either one works. It's just easier for me to type it out, I think, in Nostr, just so people can have the link directly to my stream. But you can always just go to Zap.stream and it'll be on the main page there. Very easy to find. or you can go to bitcoinjourney.ca/stream. Grace 2 says, I will out tip everyone. Oh, hopefully he shows up then. Let's wait for that. Just joking. I'm sure he'll be here for a while now. I think that we got many mornings to come here. Okay, how to start learning to earn Bitcoin. What I would say, and I definitely didn't want to turn this into like an ad tonight, and I hope that I never come off that way. But if you are interested in being part of this group that we got going on, we already have a business in there that's earning sats. It formed in about 2 weeks, and we had 5 companies join. They've all sent in sats already. I think it's close to 500,000 sats. But what you can do is just in the description here, I think I put it on this video, but just click the link beside Living in the Future. It'll take you to the Patreon. You can do 7 days for free. After that is $5 a month. And I'm probably there's a couple people who have requested to pay in sats every month. So I'm going to structure that somehow. But for now, 7 days for free. You can be part of our group chat, I guess. We got a group chat on there in Signal. All day, people are talking about Bitcoin, sharing resources, asking questions, answering questions. It is a very good place to be. It is absolutely the best $5 a month you will ever spend. But take 7 days, try it out. You can watch some videos, some older videos. There's a lot of ideas in there. That's kind of our focus. There's how to earn Bitcoin. So, and if you have any questions, anything you ever need to know, everything's in the description. My email, website, the Patreon. If you have any questions ever, you can get a hold of me very easily. The daily spiritual journey. That might be an after show. I'm going to. I promise. Look at that. That's another, look at this. Googs just said over in Zap.stream, definitely recommend picking up the Bible. Lost it for a bit after seeing a lot of awful shit, but can't explain how things in your life start to make sense once you pick it up and start applying that to your life at any time frame. And I don't know who zapped them, but they zapped 1,000 sats. So not only can you zap the creator, whoever's doing the live stream on Zap.stream, but you can also send, I'm going to give him a zap for that too. I don't know. The 69 Club is coming out once again. So you can actually zap other people's comments in Zap.stream. I mean, we're living in the future right now, folks. Whether you're part of that group or not, we're living in the future. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mr. Android says, do you own any stocks? I do. I didn't for a while. Actually, that's all I was buying in 2020 when cash was very abundant. I was buying hockey cards, basketball cards, and stocks. I sold all my stocks, cashed them in for Bitcoin. But for the last little while here, I've actually been buying some ETFs. There's a Canadian ETF called Purpose BTC and MicroStrategy. And the reason I hold MicroStrategy isn't because I'm trying to, the best place you can put any sort of capital right now is Bitcoin in self-custody. But the reason I love MicroStrategy is because he's applying the exact same principles as what I want to do in living in the future. When you can put a multiple on businesses that actually earn Bitcoin, they're going to be worth so much more in the future. And MicroStrategy has 1% of all the Bitcoin. 1% of all the Bitcoin. Think about how much leverage they're going to have in the future. If Saylor wants to build a bank, if Saylor wants to build an insurance company for people who only deal in Bitcoin, they make their payments in Bitcoin and they want to be paid out in Bitcoin, he's going to have so much leverage in every single aspect of life with that 1% of Bitcoin. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants and build businesses that earn Bitcoin. So think of an insurance company. They basically have a license to print money. If you can tie that into Bitcoin and you have the license to print Bitcoin all of a sudden, like that's some serious shit. And the other part of that is like in Canada here, we have our TFSAs, right? And so if you can put some money into ETF or MicroStrategy for the next 12, 16 months and cash that out and pay zero tax on that, I don't know. As I said, the best place by far and the place you should always start is the Bitcoin and self-custody, learning how to hold it yourself. No KYC or not, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, but holding it yourself for sure is the best. But then, you know, you have to take advantage of other stuff like the TFSAs and shit like that. Grinder says full circle zapping, zap for zap, zapular economy. And Goog says, thank you for those whoever sent them. Didn't realize you could, but I'll pay it forward. There we go. Okay, let's end with this. Let's end the show with this. It's been an hour and a half. Did 2 hours this morning of a show. I mean, this is a lot of screen time here for me. And it actually looks nice out. I showed the camera this morning what it looked like. Nice improvement. We went for a walk right before the show tonight, and it's actually pretty nice now. But this morning was like a full fucking blizzard here. Okay. So Tommy says, I have 1.5 BTC in my health savings account. Should pay for itself indefinitely. I didn't see that before I decided that was the last comment I was going to end on. I wish I had 1.5 Bitcoin, period. End of sentence there. Okay. Yeah, it's still sunny here, Johnny. We usually have sun for about till 9 p.m. here now. And it only get later and later. So anyways, let's end with the funds here. Grinder, thanks for showing up today, buddy. I appreciate the raid and I appreciate the 10,000 sats. You are currently the highest zapper of all time on the daily Bitcoin journey. So you got the title right now. You'd be on the wall in a frame. Okay, everybody's going. I'm going too. I just want to touch on this one more time before we go, and then we'll wrap her up for today. So with the funds, the one thing that you could be doing right now, if you're trying to kind of leave the old system slowly, one day at a time, just put more and more energy into the new system, the one thing you could be doing is just like taking your healthcare fund. If you have like a healthcare, whatever you pay into every month, if you stop that and just buy Bitcoin instead and set that up as like a certain fund, I think that that's going to be the future. And you do that with like your roof fund. You do that with like your dog. If your dog gets sick and you need to pay a big vet bill, you just have these different funds with different wallets of Bitcoin, and you just label them as that. You can have a Sparrow wallet, and you just send a certain amount of sats there every month or every 6 months. And as that goes up in purchasing power, I mean, you might be able to buy 10 fucking dogs at the end of it. But that's what I mean. Like the fiat system just has so much bullshit attached to it. Like admin, there's just so many that every fee that you pay is about 20% actually goes to what you're paying for. The rest just goes to absolute nonsense. And all those people are going to be replaced in the next decade. So you can get ahead of this whole thing. You can just start setting up your own funds of Bitcoin, and that's what you use. So not only are you cutting out all the bullshit, but you're actually increasing your purchasing power for whatever it is that you need to pay for. So let's end on that. Start earning Bitcoin, start setting up funds. If you want to get in touch with me about anything, I very much appreciate everybody who is here tonight. Hour and a half show, the longest show, the biggest zap, and the 840,000th block tonight. And we still got a little bit of whiskey left, and I'm not slurring too much yet. So if you want to get a hold of me, any questions, if you want to join the Living in the Future, everything you need to know is going to be in the description. So I hope you have an amazing Friday night. I very much appreciate everybody who showed up tonight. Very much appreciate everybody in the Zap.stream. Pretty cool. We're doing some pretty cool things here, and I can't wait to see what these next 4 years are going to bring for us. So appreciate you all. Have a great Friday night. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you right back here first thing Monday morning. Maybe we'll have some more people show up that day. Bye-bye.